you sent us in, Bisk.
Hello. Welcome everyone to BPL Season 8. My name is Biscuit, and to my right side, I think left side over there is Denji, my co-caster for the day. How are you doing, Denji?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. I'm fighting with this cat over here, much like how Ra and Sixth Kingdom are gonna be playing today. So I'm very excited about that. I will be casting alongside you, and we do have a full lobby, so hopefully we can get the show
Yeah.
on the road a little bit faster. Just to go over a couple of things, we're talking about it, Denji, on the pre-match screen. But both of these teams, kind of having a very unlucky season, right? Both 0 and
So far.
3. Yeah, but both down 2 games. Definitely at the bottom of the bracket, not winning a singular map. And we gotta remember. I'm sorry, one sec. This cat is being evil. Eating like just 2 losses that were really bad. But hopefully, both of them can find the win. Can find a win today, or like, well, one of them can find a win today.
One of them will find the win today. I will say that also a little bit of a disappointment so far for Six Kingdom, since they were the kickoff tournament runner-up. So far, the Six Kingdom, you can see there, they 2-1'd everybody on their way to face my team, actually, in the Grand Finals over Soul Knife, which is also a fun fact. They're still winless on Push. Push was the map that they lost every single time they played.
Right.
And they lost it against Eternal X, so now they're 0-5 on Push. Raw had the one game. Raw kind of had the bracket of death side with having to face Freefall right after facing your team, actually, Biscuit. Nice Evan.
It's true.
And then they've taken another loss to Patchy, Suba, and Chosen, which Patchy has been kind of on the up and coming ever since they 2-0'd Freefall last week, but then they just got 2-0'd by Eternal X. So I think there's a circle of suck in that pool.
Yeah, I feel you, and definitely looking at the rosters, I don't even think they're bad. Like straight up, I like a lot of these players, right? I like Taco, one of my former tanks, actually, one of my old teammates. Definitely good at the Ramatra, representing the brawl very well. Playing like these fast style comps, timeless, commercial, Bray, irrelevant, Okami and Sai as the rest of the core. I do know Okami as a flex player, primarily a support, if I'm not mistaken. However, looking at the other side, not to talk too much about my old teammate, we have a Six Kingdom with which, of course, a little bit biased. Every time that I've been casting, I've been a little bit biased because there's someone I like, and Mustard is on this team. So I am not hiding I am not hiding it. But we also have Miku and Fimi, who I'm a really big fan of. Both decent teams, NG, but again, going in, it's a draft league. You may know a couple of these people, but you for sure haven't played with all of them. The mechanics are always gonna be different, and sometimes it takes a long time to find your footing in the league, right?
Yeah. Having played and scrimmed against Raw and played and scrimmed against Six Kingdom. Six Kingdom definitely kind of leans more into trying to put all the resources into Fimi. It seems like they like to play a lot of the Reaper Czar, just kind of enabling Fimi, or as he's known in game as Baltag, is Dr. Jargo, just to kind of walk at people. A little bit tougher now because you have to be a little more careful on Reaper, since he did receive that health nerf from 300 to 275.
Yeah.
But that's mainly the star player. If Commercial is there, I'm not sure if Commercial is present, but if he's there, Commercial is like Raw's win con. I found out if you leave the guy unchecked, he will just take over the lobby. But if you check him, then it's kind of like every hit scan. You check the hit scan, they kind of slow down a little bit, but if you leave them unchecked, they will just take over lobby. And we do know our bans, and I can see the bans targeting. Raw's ban is 100% targeting Miku. On Six Kingdom, because Miku has been a Tracer player, albeit they do play other things like Genji and Venture, but the Tracer is by far their best hero. Six Kingdom's ban on Hazard is a little bit of a question mark. I know Taco did play Hazard last season, a lot, because I played you and Taco 4 times last season. I was on Ufa University.
I do know Taco as a Hazard player. I like how we're in NA, so we're not quite able to play honest dive. The monkey tracer 1, 2, 3 comps. So we kind of have to crutch on the dishonest, evil one-shot characters. Regardless, I don't think the bans are bad. Then just as you were saying, it's not bad to target specific players, right? Like, some of them are strong, some of them are gonna be particularly good, and if you don't have anything else that you really know about them, why not just go for that, right? So going into our first map, again, bans are being set up. Push is going to be our starting map. It seems like both teams kind of like brawly comps. We never know. We're not out of spawn just yet. Big shout out to production for finding this pizza shot right here. Sometimes we do have the credits for production, but as I'm saying, lots of work go into this. So thanks to all of them, and good luck to the players going in. Fraxter sneaking onto the Sigma and Maga for Six Kingdom.
A little bit different. Both these teams are gonna kind of be somewhat brawly, but Ra is more of a just poke out elemental, make sure he doesn't have armor when he wants to engage at all. Because a Mog with no armor is good as dead. That armor is so much of your absorption power when you're running in, and you get rid of the armor, you might force the cardiac overdrive. It's still especially on Mog, like the run already comes out, and elemental's kind of already down to half HP.
I can completely agree, and you know the Sigma matchup is not the easiest, especially when you have that barrier, that E, that way to disable all of that healing. Six Kingdom, talking about healing, getting a little bit too low. Maj is gonna go down instantly. Fraxter putting that final nail in the coffin, and we're just pushing Raw's team comp in. You have a little bit of sustain on Maga, but Timeless finding a beautiful angle here. The Soch may go down. No! They decide to back up before it's too late, before they end up dying themselves, and it seems like Rayas has complete map control in here.
Yeah, Freg is doing a pretty good job of just poking elements. If you just keep continuously shoot the tank, you're gonna either force him to back off like right there, or you're gonna kill him outright. As the rock just goes a little bit wide, Zizu is forced by God, but the upside is 16 is farming that Kitsune rush extremely faster than Okami is right now.
And you kind of need it in order to win this fight. Elemental's getting just pushed around, not quite even being able to do anything. The Vera is going to go low, and this is a Kitsune rush from Mega that we were talking about. That's going to be the Susu, the hands, chain, everything is going into Fraxter, and they do find the pick. Miku opening up as well with a good pick onto Okami. The bike comes out, and it's just clean up crew around here. Mach finds a double, and just like we were talking, right? You're on the back foot, but your rush comes out fast enough to just find a comeback back into the match. 96% for uppies though, and it's a little scary.
And they dropped Bree really late there, so she'll not be able to work the rest of the team. The rush timing was really good, and they dropped Frey before he got Flux up, because Flux is one of the better answers to rush. Right? You can just kind of hold it as a Sigma and threaten to Flux the rush to get players just not to use it to back off of it and be scared. But now 6 Kingdom are coming up on a couple ultimates here. Rod are sitting on a Flux Blade combo. So I won't be surprised if that looks here. Here comes the Flux out.
Yeah, the Flux immediately coming out. Fraxter finds the kill onto Elemental, and there's just so many things to look out for there, Denji. Timeless on the wrap up. Look at this rock. Gonna find the mustard pick, and that's gonna be only Sigma ult for a very big win. You also have Miku dying last with the bot going away. Not a good fight at all for 6 Kingdom, and you still have to deal with 4 ults coming back.
Or ults coming back, and Elemental decides to ditch the Malga, just going over to mirror the Sigma himself. Now Ra has all the tools just to probably snowball this almost to the end of the.
Ooh, talking about that. A little bit scary though. Look at that deep flag. It's gonna surely lead into a blade, and the blade is gonna find Mustard. Do we chain another? We do find the pick on Tamaj. 4 people down, 5 people. Timeless with a solid blade. And but that is also your rush. Finding butt scratch, definitely a good start for Raj. That's what we were saying. It seems like it's just snowballing out of control, right? You have a lot of ultimates, a lot of good wins, and you don't even need all of them to win.
Yeah, now Elemental is just kind of playing taking musical chairs. He's gone over to the Ramatra, trying to find an answer to try to get his team some space. And here comes the override.
And here's the space that we were talking about.
Using the overclock is just shut down.
Using that overclock, but not finding quite a lot. Saj is gonna get a lot of damage with the Emerald. We haven't seen this character a lot, but showing that he can still do a lot of damage. Okami finding Mach, and the bot is still moving on, Denji. Look at this, Ra, with the early positioning into the fight, trying to get as much space as they can. Timeless, of course, grabbing that top left.
Yeah, no, and they're sitting. Frank is almost up to another plus, but Bree still has yet to use his Kakai Sanctuary. Kakai Sanctuary is like one of the better answers to that spear. There goes
oh my god!
Really dropped by Timeless.
Mach going in, but getting immediately shut down by Timeless. Timeless cannot chain the kill, but you don't need to. That is a big resource for 6 Kingdom. That's your only way really back into the fight. The Suzu comes out, and there's gonna be no way to prevent the Flux finding double targets. I love the pick onto Miku, chaining into Mustard, and there's gonna be Elemental on 1 HP. Maybe they get Annihilation if they get enough heals from Gob, but Gob is gonna be looked at right now. You have to hold block, but there's no way to stay alive. Match drifts back into the fight, but it is all for naught. Denji snowballing into a win. Good job from Ra.
Ra did a really good job of just rationing their ultimates, not using everything at once, as a lot of teams do fall victim to just, we have Q, and then everybody presses Q, and then the team just kind of gets left out again. Ra just doing a really good job of being like, okay, we're going to use this ultimate, maybe match this ultimate, and it just, and 6 Kingdoms got trapped into the alt grinder where they felt like with the pressure just, I think, became a little bit too much from them, and they started making impromptu swaps. Elemental switching over from Malga to Sigma to Ramatra. You saw Miku go from Sojourn to Genji. Backline stayed the same, but outside that one fight where Gob got an extremely fast Kitsune rush, 6 Kingdom was pretty silent.
Yeah, and I do have to say, while I like Maga, right, as much as the next guy, or maybe not as much as the next guy, but I think like, you know, it's cool seeing the character, but I feel like it doesn't do enough, right? Especially into a matchup where you're getting poked by Soch, you're getting poked by Sigma, you cannot trigger burn because they have Susu, they have, you can get chained before you can even run away. There's so many factors that go into Maga just not being an effective pick, and then by the time that you're swapping, you're down your ult, they already have another 2 ults, they have a 3 ults even. And then just the game keeps snowballing into just a situation that is really hard to gain control back of, right? So 6 Kingdom, not looking the best, but had a couple of flashes of brilliance, you know, some really good engages. I like the way that they were playing in the early game. So that being said, regardless, I think they can make a comeback. We gotta remind the viewers, it's gonna be first to 2, moving into Flashpoint though for our next match.
Yeah, Flashpoint is a little bit, Coliseo is a little bit rough for Malga in general, personally, just because it's a wide open sightline lane from the main choke, and then it gets a little bit more. The map is really pretty open, so playing Malga, you have to have a really good idea where natural cover is, where you can stand, when you can peek, and a bunch of stuff. Sigma, you just shoot down the alley, and you'll hit people. As Elemental just kept getting poked out time and time again, so he's not able to use his overrun to engage. He has to use it to run away, and then Cardiac Overdrive is like kind of forced as a panic button in that case. But New Junk City is pretty much as brawly as any Flashpoint is going to get. It's pretty much been dominated by Brawl since its inception into the game, and until Atlas's introduction, it was the Flashpoint that really nobody wanted to pick. Everybody still likes picking Cervasa, but New Junk and Atlas are kind of like both like those where it's like they're kind of more brawlier. I think Atlas is pretty well designed, but New Junk is going to be pretty brawl centric here. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see Element just try to play the Mulga again, but since 6 Kingdom did lose the map, they do get the first ban, and if you're 6 Kingdom and you want to try that Mulga, I would say just get rid of that Sigma, get rid of that ability to absorb all that pressure coming in, and the ability to poke you out before you can even engage. Rom still can poke you out, but if you get on top of Rom, he's pretty much just dead. He doesn't have an ability to eat damage.
I don't mind, for example, the Sigma one, right? A lot of poke. We're talking about that specifically if you want to play Maga. Like, you have a lot of counters. Just any barrier kind of shatters the game plan, because you do have a lot of total damage on people that you're able to put on fire, but you cannot put a barrier on fire, right? So just then you, on top of that, you have the eat, and then it's a little bit annoying. But moving into Flashpoint, especially the game mode that is supposed to be kind of fast, and you have to do your rotates really quickly, and fights are just kind of over in an instant. I think the Sigma might not be the best pick here. Either way, especially with the composition they were running, right? You have your Xion, you have your Soch, you have Timeless and Genji, for example. So I think it could happen, it could not happen. I'm expecting more fast playstyle from both of these teams. I do want to see what the ban goes to, though. I think some of these were very annoying, and yeah, 6 Kingdom with the ban on the Genji, I think that's good. That's pretty good.
That's a target ban. Timeless is... Commercial told me that Timeless is a Genji, primarily a Genji player, not a one-trick, but primarily Genji, so that's pretty targeted at Timeless. But now Ra, what do you on Ra side now? Kind of doors open. If you don't want to deal with the Malga, you could always just ban the Malga as
the Lucio.
This kind of makes sense, honestly. Because I don't think Raw have their main support player X-Irrelevant there. So they don't have a Lucio player. But this also signals that maybe they want to slow down the game, or maybe they just want to play put Okami on Juno instead, which always could happen.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to ban the Lucio, especially for right now. Lucio, not the best main support. Definitely a little bit nerfed after a bunch of hits to the HP that you get on Sound Barrier. It's already one of the ults that it has like an infinite time to get, right? Mizuki super dominant, especially with like some of those perks, right, that allow you to go on the sideline and then maybe push with your flex DPS. Get a lot of picks with Chain, so I think it's not bad to not have access to Lucio. Definitely cuts access to some of these faster comps, especially the Maga, a Junker Queen, a Ram, a Rhine that this league is not particularly a stranger to. So Denji, I think it's interesting, slowing the game down a little bit going into New York City.
Yeah, I mean Rhine is one of the few answers to Mizuki that is a foul, just because you can't chain a shield, and Ryan has a massive shield. So,
the pin is not the easiest thing to like. I don't think it's the biggest value to chain sometimes. Oh, and look at that top left. We do have art credits, so definitely check them out. Thank you, observers. Thank you, production. Thank you, everyone. But yeah,
serious player cam.
No, this guy loves Uma Musume. Yeah, I have him added on Steam.
Tell.
And every second that like I'm just existing, and this guy's just playing Uma Musume. Like this guy just launches it every 2 seconds, and the comps look a little bit similar. Denji, back on the Maga, by the way.
Yeah,
I just wanna really shout that out.
I'm not super surprised. Timeless is on the Tracer, so it's gonna be Tracer Shion on the side of Six Kingdom. So it's gonna be they're gonna try to go fast because like this comp doesn't really have that much time to last. It just wants to kind of end the fight as fast as possible. And I mean, it's a little bit easier for I think Elemental to get in here because he doesn't have to worry about a giant like sight line to cross.
And he doesn't have to worry about getting in because he already is. Look at this stomp, big going into Fragster. Doesn't quite find the crit, but it's gonna be the barrier going down. And now you only have Eat, a bad time to reload, but no more cooldowns on the Sigma. A chain coming out, and both teams are just declaring war on their tanks. Elemental dropping a little bit too low, burning the cardiac overdrive, burning the run, but they find the point. Denji match is on this off angle though, and it's just a little bit hard to find value. Mustard may get picky, but it won't happen. X Elemental trying to find the rush, find a way to just get in and fight damage. The Sigma Maj goes down. Good poke from Sai, and this is gonna be Ra finding the first pick.
Yeah, Raw did a pretty good job of just like absorbing the pressure from Elemental. Tracer lost all his cooldown way earlier, but then he had this entire team on his back. And if you're Elemental, yeah, you just want to run away from it because if you run in, it's a death sentence. You might get like a giant crit stomp, but until you get like the Firewalker perk up, it's not really worth like stomping that big of a group of people.
Ooh.
And now Okami just randomly just dinks Maj from across the map. And you gotta with a question mark in chat.
You gotta be disciplined, man. Like we live in a world where support can do 120 across the map with no damage fall off, and it's just tragic, right? Timeless in a little fight against Miku. They do have the pulse bomb though. X Elemental off of the Maga, and they do find the pick. Rob won't have to worry about Miku during this fight. They do have the pulse, and they're gonna have access to their uppies during this fight as well. Maj with a trade back onto Timeless, but they're still gonna have their DPS a little bit back early. Six Kingdom, you have the advantage here, pushing it with their form. Someone is on the off angle, but they won't go and check it. Maj trying to flash Fragster, 1 HP, but they don't die, and they find the pick onto Mustard.
Yeah, as Kikai's answer as good as it is, nothing's stopping you from being lifted up and out of it, and that's exactly what happens there. The buffs come through, I think, as Mustard is placing the sentry, so they just get, both people get lifted up and out of it. As Pulse Bomb gets thrown in by Miku a little haphazardly and just gets eaten by the Fragster. Six Kingdom, so far, they've shown no fight. They've been dead in the water.
Not the worst first fight though. I like what they were doing. They definitely lose, not in the best way ever, but they do get 50% early, and that was not terrible. And now moving in, they do have the advantage over the point, and it's gonna be Ra being tasked kind of with finding a way back in. That's gonna be the barrier, and you do have the Sigma. You kind of have to go together with this rush, or you might never be able to find a fight win. A couple of good headshots. Mach dropping extremely low. Same thing for Miku. They have to heal and stabilize, but there seems to be no rest for any of them burning the Suzu onto themselves, you won't have it for the Pulse Bomb or for the engage with the Sanctuary. And this is going to be a little bit of a slow fight. Maj having to burn the roll. Timeless will be able to pulse them should they want to. This is going to be Form and Denji. Six Kingdom on the back foot now.
It's me on the back foot. I just don't. I think everything's just kind of like a mishmash for Six Kingdom. Like Elemental wants to brawl. I get it, but he doesn't have a backlines that can speed it in even until Mustard like maybe like picks that pick that he gets some of the speed with. But he has Annihilation out from Elemental.
Annihilation.
Fraying will answer with the Flux.
I don't know if that's a good trade though. Like both ults I think are quite an overcommit, especially over a fight that was already kind of won and lost, depending on who you were. 48% though. Going to Six Kingdom, giving us flashbacks of how the first point went down, 10% of ticking, and your only ult is Mizuki ult. So if you're a Six Kingdom, you have to use it. The only thing that you have on that is Noon, not the best ults for either team, but this form might just be able to run over Raw's comp.
Yeah, I wouldn't even
Ooh.
I instantly answered by that Mizuki ult, and
yeah.
I mean, it forces Mizuki ult, and then immediately he just goes down, and I just don't like Six Kingdom's choice of tank. I feel like if you wanted to play, like, if you want to still have the capability to absorb pressure, better you would just mirror the Sigma, because it just doesn't seem like Elemental can ever get into a position where he can start throwing punches without taking a beating on the walk-up.
Yeah, it's just kind of hard, and you don't have to lose your speed. You don't, yeah, and Mizuki's speed boost is not necessarily the best either. Timeless taking a couple of shots here, and you're just trying to find a way in, but Ra is holding you out. Timeless getting traded out by Six Kingdom. Miku, good first step onto this fight, and this is gonna be maybe the pick up to the Mizuki. You have to confirm this. Missing a couple of important shots though, missing a lot of shots, but Sai is gonna go down. This Kekai Sanctuary is gonna guarantee the point, but you went to 99%, and now you have a really good stagger onto bruh. You kind of have to just please chain it into an objective win. Give us a little bit of fight.
A little bit of fight, right? I mean, and now Six Kingdom they can set up for position advantage. They can just hold the choke point with this rush, not give Fragster any room to start putting out that poke pressure. As it looks like Elemental is what has the right advantage. He's putting the pressure out, but Pulse Bomb goes a little bit wide from Miku, and she has to get the heck out of there.
Triple flat. Oh my god, recalling. Mustard put in a very tough position there. Timeless finding the cap onto the point, knowing what the priority is here. Fragster finds two picks, and I think this is going to be all she wrote. Finds a good pick onto Fragster, and you do have Annihilation coming up. You cannot count them out just yet. Sai finds a good pick onto the Kiriko, and this is going to be the ult being popped out. You cannot get out if you're Omri, and you do extend it for a tiny little bit longer. X-Elemental trying to hold this point by themselves, but that's going to be the Pulse Bomb blocking as much damage that they can, but that is going to be it, really. Yeah, they come back though. Maj finding a good pick onto Okami. No more Kitsune, no more Suzu, and just barely caught out at the edge. That's going to be a point for Ra. And really, wait, Six Kingdom got it.
Six Kingdom got it. They held on to it long enough, and I think whoever was contesting point got killed by Maj on the soldier, and Fragster couldn't get on. So a little bit of a mishap from Ra, just not communicating their touches, and that's a C9, kind of a C9 there, as Six Kingdom get a little bit of a lease on life there, barely, just by the fact that Ra just made a catastrophic mistake.
Wow, I cannot say. That's crazy. You ever know? You know, a Sig 9, like that happened, but backwards. Like somehow your own Sigma doesn't touch point there, and it's very tragic because you just invested some of your best ults. Timeless gets forced out of the angle. Look at this, Miku marking them alongside Mustard. Sai is going to get a pick onto X-Elemental, and it seems like Six Kingdom is just spreading themselves thin, trying to cover Timeless on this off angle, and you just have to back off. No Ramatra, there's gonna be no way for you to win this fight. You just have to wait.
Yeah, and there was like a clear disconnect, as like I think God, Mustard, and Miku were all trying to check Timeless, and they just left Elemental alone to try to deal with the front line by himself. And if you're a lone Ramatra, yeah, you can hold in the hands, but there's not that much else you can do about that.
Ooh, Miku, again, another fight against Timeless, and this is the thing that keeps happening. Almost hits the Pulse Bomb onto themselves, but it won't happen. Flashing out, they're gonna just manage to make it out alongside Fragster. Sai and Okami are back into spawn. Chaining another kill, triple for X-Elemental. They might be able to find the fourth if they want to here, but this is just a stagger. No more recall, no more blinks. They're going down late, and you're missing your tracer for a little bit longer than expected. Point is ticking for Six Kingdom, and Denji, Ra's coming back with some really big ults.
Yeah, they have the Kikai Sanctuary to work with, and this Override Protocol coming up. Again, if you're Six Kingdom, when you have control of the point, you cannot afford to let Ra just walk in for free. But it's just like time and time again, Ra just kind of walks up to the doorway, knock politely, and just get let in. As Elemental is trying to keep them in the choke point a little bit more, but he is taking a little bit of a beating.
Looking for a pulse bomb, but the totem ends up making it really hard to hit. Timeless with no recall, with no blinks, and they're still trying to find a pick onto Mustard. Mustard popping Sanctuary just to try and find some safety for themselves. Same will go for Rob, but you're playing against the Deadeye. No hands, no barrier. The flash comes out, and that is going to be Six Kingdom finding the best first pick that you could. This is going to be Ra on the back foot. Die or get out trying. This you have to find a pick onto this. Misuki, surely, right? Yeah, jumping off the map.
That
Denji.
might be the best. That might be point right there.
That's point. That has to be point.
Late. I was gonna say the Six Kingdom like invested a little bit too heavily, as Ra still have this continuing Russian grab flux available. As Timeless blinks, triple blinks in just to get a touch, but I don't think anybody else on Ra can get there in time. And no, Six Kingdom will go to match point, and I mean they could have retouched, but Bree just got so staggered out, and then it's just disjointed. And despite
Miku though,
I think overcommitting ultimates, Ra just aren't able to get back.
Smelling blood in the water. Look at this, trying to find a pulse bomb. A couple of melees is somebody's gonna take. Look at that major perk, putting in so much work to confirm the pick onto Sai, and they just keep going. Okami burning TP. This is going to be a call out for your team. You have to go in, find a pick onto this Kiriko. Burning recall so low. Timeless getting extremely low. Getting a hat from Mustard is gonna stabilize them. Point is gonna open, and Denji, Six Kingdom is just everywhere on this map.
Yeah, this is like the impact that Miku's Tracer has. Miku is really accustomed to Tracer 1v1s and everything. Here comes the flush out from Fraxter. I think it only caught a Gob, and Gob just Suzu's herself, so not much else from that. Here comes
Finding some safety. Annihilation is gonna make it really hard for Fraxter to get out. That's what I would say. Suzu is just completely balanced, by the way. Gob is gonna find a pick onto Sai. Good job there, denying a little bit of the damage. Pulse bomb, rock, everything going onto Elemental, but nothing will really kill them. Fraxter is just living, and I think staggering themselves. Miku still on a fight against Timeless, and Timeless finds the final blow onto them, but the point is still ticking. A long fight for Six Kingdom that even if they lose, they got so much points that I think it's still worth it, Denji.
Yeah, but they kind of they just let Frank flip it for free, and now Six Kingdom, they don't have the resources to make it. Never mind, Gob does manage to find Timeless, and Mustard has to stay alive. He has his Kikai Sanctuary, won't get it off. Free will respond with hers, and here comes the Deadeye again from Maj. Maj got fast value with it last time.
Getting flashbacks from that last time. Look at that, using the totem and the speed to try and get their team out, but there will be no way for you to get out. Using the totem recall to try and do the same, but it will not happen. Brad's gonna go down, and Six Kingdom trying to get a little bit of extra kills. You need so much momentum to secure the game, but 50% of Dick and Gob on the off angle. They know that Timeless is here, and this could be a massive pick if they get it.
A massive pick if they get it, and now Six Kingdom. They have this considering, but Fraxter does have this draft box to answer if he needs to, but he is getting heavily pressured in the front line. This is what Six Kingdom needs to do when they have control of the point. They need to get in Fraxter's space.
Oh,
uncomfortable.
Control coming out though. Fraxter investing the flux, and it's gonna find Elemental the best pick to open up this fight with. There's gonna be the Kiriko going down as well, and there's nothing that you can do without your tank, without your heals, without your pressure. This is going to be a point in the name of Ra. Finally stabilizing a little bit, point taking, but you have another fight and a very comfortable touch of your Six Kingdom.
A very comfortable touch, and you have Kitsune Rush to match Okami's, and then you have Pulse Bomb on both sides, but the big thing, Elemental, with that Annihilation. If there's anything, you match Kitsune Rush, and then you just drop Annihilation on top, or the Kitsune Rush is on top of your own round.
Rush coming out, I don't know if it's the best call right here, because look at that, your backline getting dope. Miku confirming the pick onto Ra, and then it's gonna be a pulse bomb. You cannot dodge this one. Finding a double. Beautiful way to start the fight. Another pick from Maj, and this is going to be a point going to Six Kingdom. Forgive me, but I think this might just be the game. You have this form, trying to pressure, staying on point is not the best thing to do here. Just find the pick. Yes, Fraxter goes down, overtime clocks down, and Denji. We have Six Kingdom on the board officially. Their first map of the season.
As both teams managed to take maps, the first map of the regular season, as the first Flashpoint, the first like 1.5 flashpoints were a little bit iffy for Six Kingdom, as like Elemental couldn't get in because of the amount of poke and the amount of pressure coming in. But the momentum just completely flipped when Ra just makes that catastrophic mistake of doing a reverse Sig 9 kind of, where Maj gets lifted up the point, but Frag is too high in the air to actually touch the point, and then Six Kingdom get that point, and then after that it was Ra had their moments to get back into fights and everything, but Six Kingdom, I feel like that just gave them like a giant surge of energy and positive mental, just to be like, okay, we got a point. Yes, it was a C9 on their part, but we got a point. And then after that, it was Six Kingdom started to look a lot better.
I think production is sending the screenshots, but yes, we do have first map win from both of our teams, finally up there on the scoreboard of the season. Not 0-4 anymore for any of them. Good job. And every team in C League has now won a map. That much is true. Yeah. Look at C League standings. Well, just imagine a one.
Update once the match is over, but
yeah, just imagine a one. And I do want to say, that was great. That was a fun game. I wish I could watch again what happened, because you have 3 people. You definitely have the point already won. Sigma lifts Maj, right, who I think swapped onto the soldier to try and come back to touch. You get the pick, but you don't get the point. I don't know what happened there. Some incredible discommunication there.
So I think Maj did get a kill, so that drops, I believe it was Timeless who's on Tracer. But I think Bree and Okami were the 2 that were still like in the vicinity of the point, I think on the very edge. And I think they just both either were too low or something happened and they both got off of it at the same time. And Frag couldn't touch either, but for the final map, it is Circuit Royale, which is going to be Sigma Central, so it's probably going to be a Sig mirror, heavily poke mirror. This is where, if you're Raw, you would love to have Commercial available. I don't think he is, because he obviously hasn't played. Because Commercial is extremely good at Widow, but Rom ban from Raw, they don't want to deal with Elemental on that Rom, and Rom is viable on Circuit, albeit
I do want to say as well, a very good point that is being brought here in the chat is Sigma, that is most likely a Sigma Protect ban, which I do not mind at all, right? Ra has been running the Sigma from the beginning of the sets, showing that they're very comfortable on these kinds of comps, and there's no better place to play Sigma than Circuit Royale, which is going to be our last game of the day, unless there's some incredible tie, which then we will be moving on to another map. But yeah, Denji, I don't think that will be happening. Look at this, banning the Omri.
I mean,
a little...
I get it.
I think Emery has seen, like, the glory days have passed of the character being completely disgustingly broken, but not bad.
The glory days of you just shoot the tank with Siphon Pistol with hit sync and you just don't lose Siphon Pistol and you don't die. Days are over. I mean, Emery still is Emery is still strong in a sense. Like, his damage is still pretty good. Siphon Blaster is still pretty good with the hit sync perk. It just doesn't last as super long as it did pre-nerf. And then of course the nades are just, of course, they still do they still do an insane amount of damage if you're like right next to them. So, and Override Protocol is like the biggest. You cannot stand here for 8 seconds unless either A, you kill me, or B, I kill you.
Yeah, it's very oppressive, and I don't mind the ban either, and especially in this hit scan central kind of map. There will be no swaps, both teams going at each other with the same roster from our last map, and it's gonna be last game of the night. I believe we don't have any other games scheduled. You know, C League with a bang, with the bottom two teams seeing who can find their first win. Ra walking out on Genji Ashe, which I do like a lot, right? You have the dynamite, you have a lot of pressure to get someone low, and then Timeless hopefully slashes in to try and finish the job. Very solid Fragster performance until now on the Sigma. And you know, I just want to talk about it right now. Like, mention it really quickly. If you were to look at the scoreboard from last map, Six Kingdom has all of the stats of a losing team. Like, they have less damage, less kills, less everything, but they still won. So miracles can happen, guys. Six Kingdom walking out on the Sigma comp. March on May, by the way. I want to highlight that.
Yeah, this is kind of like maybe a deterrent to potentially Timeless going in because maybe just goes through the flex. But also, it gives Element the upper hand in that Sigma doom. You know, the wall off fakes, they're chain them into rock, and they're just killing you. You're not going to front have your frag. It's like, and Okami just gets his head taken off by an icicle immediately.
You don't need a Widow, you don't need a Hansa, you only need Maj on May, who finds a beautiful first pick, no more Susu, no more safety, and this wall is not gonna quite do enough, but you already did all that you had to do with that first headshot.
Yeah, that first headshot just shows the retreat of Raw. And now, if this team can take all the space that they want, they can try to push up, try to take more space, maybe look for more picks. I don't think up in that cubby ball, but it's not even pressured by
and getting pelted with damage, just taking so much, but their team is back, and now we're in the infamous circuit corner. Maj taking the off angle, playing like they're a hit scan, and Sai is showing them who's the real hit scanner around here. There's gonna be no more ice block, and if you're Raw here, you have to punish it as much as you can, but Six Kingdom is right there to keep them safe. The barrier, the dash, everything comes out. Both teams pretty scared to push into each other, I'm not gonna lie, and I don't blame them because Maj just had the Blizzard Mustard. Beautiful first pick onto Timeless, and you have to seal the deal right here if you're Six Kingdom.
Really, yeah, right here with Six Kingdom. Chain does come out of Elemental, but it's just a little bit of an annoying thing. If the death of Fraxer should signal that this point is Six Kingdoms as over as they do a really good job peeling for Maj, realizing he's out of position, he needs help, and Timeless kind of goes a little bit too greedy, thinking he can get that kill, and then he has to dash out and is in a position where he's not completely split from his team.
Right, that's a deep flag, that's a wall. Oh my god, Sai getting a little bit too greedy, and I do have to say, Ra on the back foot right now, not quite able to find a place to fight. Even Fraxer giving them a little bit of safety, but still getting a little bit low then.
Yeah, but this upcoming fight is going to be super watch unless Timeless is dropped Scab, and that's your consider rush gone, but answers back was just killing debris.
No more Misuki ult. That's not gonna happen. Mustard's gonna give them a lot of safety. Timeless gonna have a hard time, and that's 2 people up in the sky, falling into a blizzard. Okami barely trying to dash out, and it won't happen. Elemental showing them what's what. This is the way that we flux around here. And 4 people died at the same time. Maybe enough time to touch if Bresk able to come back and just dash into point. And I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, Brady looking to try to get there. Will drop the Mizuki ult with her dying breath, and it has bought barely enough time for the rest of it.
Investing everything. Back. That's gonna be the blade. That's gonna be the bob. So much pressure onto point, and I don't blame Six Kingdoms doing this one because it's gonna be 3 people down. It's only X Elemental on the point. That's everyone dead. Good touch for Bra. I think it was a little bit tough to die so quickly, but it gives them enough time. Denji. That is every ult from Ra though, other than their flux.
Other than their flux, and Gov has the consumer rush just to kind of try to buy them some space here. Then you can either, actually I reverse that. Mikir has his OC just to kind of threaten to blow somebody's head off, or Maj just can take somebody's head off as Icicle does connect with Sai's head right there.
They have a good angle here to maybe find the wall behind the Mustard, opening up with another pick onto the Mizuki, showing them who's better, and there's gonna be 4 people from Six Kingdom, just killing them so quickly. The fight barely got time to get started. Fraxer overextending and being punished. 4 minutes. Very good showing from Six Kingdom so far, who looks like a completely different team now.
Yeah, and another thing, Raw just didn't put any pressure into Six Kingdom on their walkout, which is pretty much for free, but Frank does find out Maj a little too far forward early here, but almost gets punished for it. I don't know if it's a nice rock, but Six Kingdom has to back up a little bit and wait for them to come back.
It's a little bit tough here. Timeless is gonna go down, giving them a little bit of a trade right here. And Maj is finally gonna come back. You're gonna fight with a couple of people up on your side. Investing the flux. They do believe in this. 1 people down, 2 people. And just a beautiful flux from Fraxter. Giving this fight a lot of hope. Hopefully they can turn it around, but they're not out of the woods just yet. A lot of damage incoming onto the side of Fraxter. No more barrier, no more hands. And the only thing that can keep you safe is your Kiriko, but that will be enough. Good fight for Ra. And honestly, beautiful flux for Fraxter.
Yeah, Frag getting the 2 kills, and Elemental invests his flux in his own and doesn't find anything with it. As time was going extremely low, but a nice rock from Frag will save the life of his Genji. And now you do have this rush and the bomb. You have a lot of here. Is this going to be a similar ult fight?
You gotta watch out for the Blizzard denying the point as well. Look at this, getting a little bit close, but beautiful kite from Six Kingdom, not giving it enough space. Miku overextending a little bit, no dash available there. And honestly, the best thing you can do here is just back off and wait for your teammate to come back.
Yeah, and you didn't use any of your ultimates that you had if you're Six Kingdoms, so now you have the rush just to kind of put pressure in, and then if they sink, you have your own tank to answer.
Look at this, walking in together. Bear's gonna give you so much safety, but this bomb is gonna be right on top of your backline. Maj getting so low, that bomb, filtering them so fast before they can even pop their ice cube. Mustard's gonna go down to Bob, and this is just a disaster fight for Six Kingdom. You have one of the best ultimates right behind you, and now you have to walk into Flux, into Blade, and into Sanctuary. Not the easiest fight, but definitely not impossible.
Not impossible, but if you're Frankster, the instant you see Sanctuary get put down, you're just popping Flux and lifting anybody who's in that Sanctuary up into the air, and then Timeless can just kind of go in with the Blade and find out what value he needs. Psy
doing their job though, getting everyone weak before they can even walk in. No more cube, that's gonna make it impossible to leave this Flux. I think that's gonna be Mustard, that's gonna be Gav. Miku and Timeless is just chopping everyone up. Finds 1, 2, 3, and 4 to close out the fight. Ra investing another 2 ults, and Six Kingdom though lost without investing any of them, and that is really important.
Yeah, well, Six Kingdom just hasn't had the chance to use anything because they're just kind of taking a very long time to get into a position to actually use anything, and Raw is just kind of doing the same thing they did with them on Coliseum. One ult at a time, them in the grinder. Another nice shot from Mod. You will force silence.
He's gonna get them so low. The wall is also gonna disconnect the backline from each other, popping the ice cubes to try and keep themselves safe. Timeless though, finding the beautiful pick onto Gav. No more killing, no more Suzu, but that's your tank gone. And Taco, without the Flux works. Not the best showing right here, but you still have the payload on Timeless. You cannot let them get out. You cannot let them get out, right? Good job.
Timeless doesn't get out, but they get Mustard before dying as the burn. Oh, Psy barely just lives, but Tommy there to help. But Six Kingdom have a couple of ultimate, both their DPS ultimates still available to just kind of seal this fight. Especially the point has to be the fight has to be taken to the point because of how close it is to the end. If you're Mod, you got the Blizzard on.
Psy in a little bit of a really good position here. Look at this. They have so much of a sideline over the team. And it's gonna be a onto Mustard. No more Sanctuary. No more Chase. Timeless though gets caught out in the Blizzard, and it's just a massacre. 4 people down for Ra, and the only person alive to tell the tale is gonna be Psy, who was not in a bad position, but your entire team gets walked on, and there's nothing you can do on Ashe. 30 seconds left for Six Kingdom, who's looking again really good.
Yeah, the fight had to be a good job from Maj, just kind of recognizing the fight has to be taken. Somebody has to touch point with how close it is getting, and he just chops Blizzard down. Timeless, I think, just gets caught wall climbing in the radius of the Blizzard, so he's frozen up. You get that kill. OC comes out from Miku, and Miku just cleans house with that overclock. And Ra, with how shaky first and second looked, I mean, not a bad hold on third by any means, but now you have to push it to the end of the map to force OT rounds, and I mean, it's doable. It might be chaotic. Like if anybody saw the earlier match of an OWCS VP versus a DK on this map, it went to OT rounds pretty heavily, and it was pretty close fights and stuff. But this map is extremely hard to full cap. Like first you either get full held or you roll through it, or you have to blow ults to get to the end of it. Second is pretty much the same thing, and then third is like all 3 points you can get held pretty heavily, or you have to use everything just to get through it.
Yeah, and it's just it's not the easiest what's called place to cap, just because of the long sidelines that are just so hard to engage on. Timeless looking for a little bit of a greedy shot here on the Widow. Might be able to cap something here. A head popping up in between their sides, but nothing just yet. Mustard keeping themselves quite safe on the Alari. Not yet though! Oh. I spoke a little bit early. Psy confirms the pick onto Mustard, and that's going to be the opening kill of this round. Not enough to win them, but that might be enough to win them this first fight. Gonna get to the corner then, G, and this is a good first step to the Rock.
Yeah, if this team has to get out here without losing anybody else, Mosh does manage to. Mosh has been a sniper with these icicles as he finds Bree before going into that block, and that should allow Six Kingdom to get back and try to get a foothold on this corner before the cart hits. Is the biggest hindrance for attackers always usually is this final bend. It's really hard to get through.
It's really hard to get through, just as you're saying. That's going to be the Suzu as well. Going into Timeless, investing into that Elemental cannot find the pick onto them. Miku getting a little bit too low, and just like what we're saying, Maj is looking great on the Mei. They do not need to be close in order to put you to death. Look at that, it's gonna be a Suzu saving Elemental, and this wall is gonna make it so tough for Fraxter. Taco forced to rotate back onto the payload, and Ra is on the back foot. Timeless a second away from dying, but beautiful job from Okami, keeping them safe, but it's not enough when Miku's there to put them down with a railgun shot. Sai is so disconnected from their team, going for an ego 1v1, or I would call it a 1v1 if Okami wasn't there. No one dies. Six Kingdom has a beautiful position here. Good pick onto the Ash, and that is going to be Ra backing up.
Yeah, and that's not really, if you're Ra, I was gonna point it out if Eternity Raw just didn't die, but if you're Raw, I think the comp should have been you have to play slow, because Frankster had him ginormous a lead on Grab Flux over Element. He was like at 92, well Element was only at 35, but that fight just allows Elemental to almost get up to his, but Okami finds another random kunai to get Maj.
We were talking about Maj being a sniper, but sometimes it's you there, and sometimes it really is just not. Fraxter, this looks like a great flux. There's gonna be no rock to hopefully be able. Actually, no. Elemental, yeah, tossing it out. This is the time where you gotta go. Finding a good flux onto the Kiriko. The Kiriko's gonna go down. It's really hard to time that Susu. Mustard is gonna look for the sun, but he gets eaten by Frag. You gotta watch out for the hands, and you also gotta watch out for this flux, which might be able to turn the fight around. The Blizzard is gonna come out, and that's going to deny everyone onto this point. Maj finding one. This could be a turnaround point, but Taco is going to live a chaotic fight from which Ra emerges victorious, investing 4 ults from both teams. A costly loss and a costly win.
Yeah, Frankster got both supports in that flux, so he drops, oh god, with the slam damage. And then Mustard with a bit of a haphazard captive sudden in desperation to try to find something. But both teams using so much. It's only Okami's rush here. Oversee. But Sai just, I think, takes an icicle to the head and then Miku finishes it.
Sai overextending, trying to get a little bit of early damage onto these fights, but it's gonna cost him this corner and a lot of positioning. Timeless looking for a trade, but it won't happen. You have to chew through Susu, through TP, through the healing, through everything, and Miku's there to hold them captive. Look at this, trying to get a kill in this little cubby, but it won't happen. Denji, Six Kingdom has a really good defensive position here.
Yeah, and they're doing what Raw wasn't. They're putting pressure on them on the walk-up, and the rush will be forced.
Coming back with the Kitsune rush. Engaging really early. Miku gets a little bit greedy to get the fight onto the Mizuki, but it won't happen. All of Six Kingdom is together, and the wall is going to stop them, even if just barely. Halfway through the point, that beautiful rock that won't end in a kill. But Six Kingdom is coming back for a last fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be no ult on either side. It is basically just a race to get this gap fucked up for both Sigmas. But Timeless manages to get in and find Mustard.
Mustard won't be there to keep their team safe. Maj finds the trade onto Timeless, but it's not as big as losing one of your supports for Six Kingdom or for Ra. Look at this, the rock is gonna come out. Is it the flux? Do we stop it? We do! Good job from Elemental. The Overshield is going to keep them safe alongside the Susu, keeping the Sigma alive through things that he should not be alive from. The shield is going to cut off all healing. And even if you have your Kiriko, even if you have your Mizuki, nothing can go through that barrier. And Six Kingdom by the skin of their teeth and with a beautiful rock from Elemental, keeping the second point.
That why I'm the coach, by the way. That's yeah, a little bit of a rivalry going on between these two Sig players, I see. But now Six Kingdom, they have this rush and they have the flux, and they have this blizzard too. And now Ra is just kind of being put into a horrible position where they have to walk up into so much damage, and by the time they get up here, Six Kingdom has ults that they need just to completely shove them backwards down that hill again.
And not only damage, you're walking into a lot of ult from Kitsune, from like this Kitsune rush running at them. Do not invest everything else with your Six Kingdom, because this is enough to win it. This Mizuki cannot get out. There's gonna be no totem. Sai trying to get out through the stairs, but it won't happen. Another pick, and Ra is going to suffer a lot from this. You're staggered, only 1 minute left, and Six Kingdom has 3 ults.
Yeah, and if you're Six Kingdom, honestly, just force a fight where Elemental was dead. If you're Six Kingdom, I would rather play close. Just force a fight super far away from the payload, make it as hard as possible just for them to get there.
Oh, Taco, I'm sensing a little bit of tilt here, walking very disconnected from their team, but they're still safe no matter what. Maj is gonna go down, no more Blizzard. There's going to be no more access to this strong denial. Look at this flux. There's going to be no rock to deny it. How many people do we catch? We catch one, nothing, or something. Only one.
No, I think
going
up. Prankster in it.
Miku is gonna find the pick onto Sai. Not the best flux, but not the worst either. This rock is not gonna find its target. Fraxter finds Gov, and Timeless is just chasing Mustard around the map. He's gonna get cut down. 20 seconds and barely capping Denji.
Yeah, Maj is being a little bit of a nuisance stalling out, but I don't think it won't amount to that much of anything besides maybe a little bit of time drain. But if you're Six Kingdom, I think it was a massive blunder. You had Flux and Blizzard to just stuff them in the choke point by their spawn, make it so one of them has to go touch, because your point is so far away that you're not worried about backcapping. If you just kill them in their spawn there and then go kill whoever's on point, the map's done.
Look at this, the rock to trying to pick onto the Genji is gonna cost them with no way to deny this flux. That's your Susu, and that's just getting pushed all the way back. Six Kingdom has nothing other than hands on to Sigma. This wall might be able to force out something, but not enough. The floating perk keeping them unexpectedly safe. Maj walking so far just to try and find the Blizzard, and the Blizzard does connect, but it won't do much other than get them off the payload, even if just slightly. Gov, oh my god, 1v1ing Sai, and this is going to be the Genji hopefully going down. Timeless burning deflect, burning dash, but not dying just yet until Gov finishes that kill.
Yeah, the Blizzard, it doesn't lock anybody up, but it creates a massive split between Sai, Timeless, and the rest of their team. As the three in the choke point have to back off the cart, and then Timeless and Sai are just stranded up top with no help and no ability for anybody to get to them to help. But Sai manages to drop Miku on the way in here, and that's the opening that Ra need to get into this fight. They don't have any ultimates available though, and Rob is sitting on this Kitsune rush.
Oh, the wall does make it a little bit harder. Actually, no, they get just dug under the Kitsune. A rush going into Ra, getting a little bit aggressive, even if they're on a couple of people. That's gonna be the Flux. Does Timeless go down? It seems like not. The Susu keeps them safe enough, but not for long. Look at this Flux. How many people are gonna go up? 2 people going up. That's gonna be the Sigma. It's gonna be one of the backline members. Shotgun comes out from side, trying to get out, and they do. Six Kingdom holding the payload and keeping Ra from their first win.
Oh. A little bit of a blunder that they had the players allowed to touch the point. I just don't think it's communicated who's going to touch, and even though Raw started out so dominantly on Caliseo, then just to have everything just start to go backwards is kind of a sad thing to see, as Mustard just drops we're going to Korea.
Mustard's right. Six Kingdom is going to Korea with this first win, looking really good. I like the game that we just saw. That was very exciting, and I do agree. Lots of some communication mistake has to happen there. Everyone is scared. Honestly, I low key don't understand why why everyone was so backed off. Even though it's the last 5 seconds, NG, like, why? They were healthy as well, by the way.
They were healthy. Fragster almost had Flux available too, which makes zero sense to me. It's like, you have to touch the point at least to do something. You have to trust your supports to keep you alive. But just to like throw your hands up in defeat and say I give up, that's probably the worst way possible to lose. Is you had, I think, 3 or 4 players in the vicinity of the point, and all of them just said, "Nah, we're done."
Yeah, and Ra, a little bit of a flashback to what happened in New Junk City, right? I do gotta give it to Six Kingdom, who were looking not so good on push, definitely just dominated by Ra's aggression, and then just slowly pulling it back after a very big blunder from Ra onto Flashpoint. It's gonna give them their first win, we gotta remember. And if I have to shout out an MVP, honestly, I really like what Miku was doing. I think Miku on the Soch, beautiful opening picks, especially the Tracer on New Junk City, was doing a lot with some very interesting 1v1s against Timeless. Looked a little bit even, but Denji, honestly, that's my vote for MVP. I love their gameplay. What can I say?
Miku, I've had a very silent first map, but I think that was just because they were on the receiving end of that target by the Tracer. But after the Tracer came back into play, Timeless didn't look like they could handle the 1v1s, and then Tracer not even being played. Miku just played Sozier and started clicking heads on Circuit Royale. I will say that a secondary shot would be Elemental, because the amount of pressure that he was taking, and being able to just stay alive to keep that space for his team is just it's not easy as a tank player to take the amount of pressure he was on the Ramatra into that Mizuki comp with the rock, the chain, all the CC that you're eating, just being able to just be that anchor, be that space holder, being like, you cannot get past me until you either kill me or force me backwards. And Elemental, a shaky start, but after he switched to Ramatra, he started to come a little bit more alive, and then that Sigma duel sealing it as that. I want that one rock on the Frey was
Yeah,
it was point saving. If he doesn't hit that rock, he dies and the point gets capped.
And no one can touch.
And then you're
right?
staring down the and then you're staring down the barrel of potentially Ra pushing to the third point with
No,
about 3 minutes
not
versus 1
potentially.
minute.
Like Ra is just pushing you in, right? And then you don't have the barrier to cut off the healing onto the Sigma, which was like the last thing that killed them. So that's almost an impossible fight if Elemental doesn't hit that rock. So big shout outs to them, our official MVP of the match. And then we just saw our only game of the day, but a big C-League banger with again a big reminder: Six Kingdom now occupying the 5th spot on the C-League standings, finding their first win. Raw not quite there just yet, but you know, every team has its day, and hopefully they can find the win soon, going up into these next couple of days. We don't have another game again, I will say, today, but we do have a couple tomorrow. Yes, we do have a lot of action.
There's a lot of A-League, B-League, and C-League action tomorrow. I don't think not every single game's being streamed because there's way too many going on. I think, but I don't know if we have a schedule at all for the games tomorrow, as I believe a bulk of it's A and B, and then and then a lot of C League will be playing tomorrow as well. Maybe Spooky can do his voodoo magic and get C League Sunday going again.
Yeah, maybe we can see a little bit more representation. But congratulations to Six Kingdom again. Another big shout out to Elemental for winning. There we go. BPL tomorrow. We have a game.
Oh wait, never mind. Spooky's playing tomorrow. Never mind.
We have 4 hours of games with a mix of C League, A League, and the B League. So if you're excited, if you don't have any plans tomorrow, tune in because there's gonna be a lot of action. But Denji, thank you so much for casting with me today. Thank you so much to production for giving us a really good showing, and to the players specifically. That was a banger of a match. But once again, only game of the day. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you tomorrow with lots of BPL 8 coming at you soon. See ya.